And a good evening from virtual Homestead Miami Speedway in Homestead, Florida. It's the Season 2 opener for the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. Along with Hannah Newhouse and Rusty Walrus, I'm Adam Mackey buckling in for a great night of NASCAR Heat action. Now, tonight's event is race number 1 of 14 this season, with big prize money on the line all year long. Now, back with us for season number 2 is a familiar face and voice, Hannah Newhouse. Now, last year, Hannah, you called season number 1 of the NASCAR Heat Pro League. You know all about this, and now we're going into an exciting season number 2. Tell someone like me what they're expected to see here tonight if they're kind of new to this game.
Well, plenty of excitement, no doubt about that. Looking forward to being back for season 2 here of the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. Last season, we saw a lot of drivers play some aggression, play some fuel strategy. That'll come into this season as well, but I think we'll see a lot more aggressive driving. These drivers now have $2,000 to win for every single one of these races. Who doesn't want an extra $2,000 in their pocket right now? So these drivers are going to lay it all on the line every single race this season. We've got some familiar faces that came from season 1, but we've also got some new faces that are looking to prove that they have what it takes to compete here in the NASCAR Heat Pro League and maybe win those veterans out of that little extra cash.
Yeah, plenty of veterans returning for season number 2. You would think they would have the leg up, but it'd be interesting to see who was drafted high and how they compete against some of those that were here a year ago. Also joining us, Rusty Walrus. He's an expert when it comes to esports and the racing in the NASCAR Heat. Tell us about what you think we're going to see for the season 2 opener here tonight.
You could just about see anything here tonight. This track is one of the best tracks in the game. It's multi-groove. You can go 2, 3, even 4 wide, and I think we're going to see that a lot here tonight. But also when you get single file and kind of try to stretch your fuel and try to save a little bit, it's a challenge for these drivers, and it's one of the most popular tracks in the game for a reason, and these drivers will put on a show here.
I'm excited for it. The $2,000 prize money for not only the Xbox race, but the PlayStation 4 race, the 2 races that we're going to see from Homestead Miami Speedway here tonight. A lot of eyes are watching this throughout the season, and upwards of 1 million viewers for season number 1. Expected to be plenty as we watch them go for the championship for these NASCAR teams here in season number 2 as well. Tyler Reddick was a driver that was very interested in tuning in to watch tonight. He's one that sent along a special message because he's excited to see the season opener here for the 2020 eNASCAR Heat Pro League season.
Hey, this is Tyler Reddick. I'm excited to tune into the eNASCAR Heat Pro League this season to watch the Caterpillar Chevrolet in action. I can't wait to see what our RCR esports drivers can do.
What's going on, guys? Jake Morris here from Stewart Haas Esports. So I woke up this morning. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning here in Mooresville, North Carolina. I went downstairs. I cooked up a little breakfast, some Smithfield bacon. Was good to go there. Got my day started off right. Went outside for a little bit. Cleaned up my Ford F-150 pickup truck, got it looking good. You want to know why I was doing all this? Because I'm in a good mood. I'm excited. Today is the start of the 2020, the second season of the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. And here at Stewart Haas Esports, we're super excited because we're coming off the 2019 championship. That's right, we went out and dominated, kicked all the other teams' butts, and we're going to do that exact same thing this year. We got Matthew Selby, he's our new guy. We got Brandon Gritton, he's a defending champion. And we're ready to go. They both qualified well tonight, and I can't tell you how excited we are here at Stewart Haas Esports to kick off this season. So on behalf of our team and everybody else here at Stewart Haas Racing, be sure to go out, grab yourself a Busch Light if you're of age, find you a comfortable seat on the couch tonight, tune in to enascar.com at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. You're going to see an exciting race from Miami.
Well, guess what, Hannah? The time is now. Qualifying has taken place to get the drivers lined up for our Xbox race. We're moments away from seeing these drivers roll onto the track, take a look at our starting lineup, and get ready to go. Things are heating up for NASCAR Heat 4 and our eNASCAR Heat Pro League. Season 2 just about ready to go. $200,000 on the line throughout the whole course of the season and for the championship. Wow, it's going to be a tight battle, I think. It couldn't have got any tighter than season 1, though. Didn't it go into it with a virtual tie last year?
Yes, it did. It came down to the second or third tiebreaker in that season championship, which deemed Stewart Haas Racing the 2019 champion. So they're going to be on a tear this season. They want to go back to back for the second season here of eNASCAR Heat Pro League, but they got to start here tonight at Homestead. Take a look at it there. Race length is 50 laps, and they've got 3 times the tire wear and full damage. With this mile-and-a-half racetrack, none of these guys want to acquire damage early on because they got to be there at the end. This is a racetrack where any damage like that could make or break a race for them. So I would expect to see a little patience maybe early on. But again, this is the first time we're racing for $2,000 to the winner right out the gate. So will someone maybe try and be aggressive, get up front and lead early on? Or will we see patience play out and everyone run single file for a little while? I doubt that. I think a lot of aggression and guns are going to be out early on in this race.
Absolutely, Hannah. It's going to be interesting who will take care of their equipment to have a good race car at the end as our Xbox field of competitors for the Xbox platform gets ready to go. 50 laps will be the distance tonight from Homestead Miami Speedway as we take a look at the starting lineup based off of qualifying. Justin Brooks of JTG Doherty Throttlers, he's going to be on the pole. Lewis Zader's going to start alongside, Hannah.
And Nick Walker, a returner there, but with a new team. He's with Roush Fenway Gaming this season. Alongside him, Daniel Buttafuoco. Keep an eye on him. Swept the preseason and looking to start the regular season off with a win. Matthew Heel in row 3 for Gibbs Gaming. Another returner with a new team. And Slade Gravitt, he was the #1 draft pick last season on the Xbox console. He's in row 3 and returning with Wood Brothers Gaming.
Moving on to row 4, 5, and 6, Sam Morse, Hendrick Motorsports. We've got Brian Tedeschi from Team Penske Esports. In row 4, row 5, Matthew Selby and Jose Ruiz. And then in row 6, Riley Ogle and Diego Alvarado of Petty Esports. They make up our top 12 starters, and a couple guys are going to be starting deep in the field. Mitch Diamond, Tyler Dohar, Rusty Walrus. Is it a big disadvantage to be starting way back in row 7, or can you make up that ground in a 50-lap race at Homestead, Miami?
You know what? The more I think about it, the more I think maybe Tyler Dohar might have some strategy playing into this before the race even started by starting in the back of the pack. So he might already be choosing, as the green flag flies, to maybe just lay back and try to make this a 1 pit stop race, whereas the guys out front on the front row, like Justin Brooks, they might be going for 2 stops. But keep an eye on the back row. Your winner could come from back there.
Be interesting to watch it play out as the field has gone through the qualifying that we talked about. And this, of course, the first of 2 races tonight for the season opener of Season 2. The Xbox competitors getting ready to go first. Then the PS4 competitors will go second. And each of them paired up with a teammate on their NASCAR esports teams from the first race. So that's what they go for, the combined championship at the end of the season. Rusty, let's talk about how you get a chance for the championship. It comes down to Season 2, I think, all about winning these individual races leading up to the end of the year.
Yeah, just like real life, you win and you're in. So not only is there money involved, but to get to the championship race, you got to win. And the pressure is already there. But to know you're going to lock your way in with that win, it means everything for these drivers and their sponsors.
And Hannah, I think you probably would concur with that. It's all about winning, even if it wasn't about winning to get into the championship battle at the end of the year. I think that's what it's going to come down to here tonight especially.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys have the every opportunity to win. And like you said, win and you're in. They'll have 4 races, every segment, 3 segments. But if they can't get it done early on in the season, they've got that wild card race at the tail end of it. One last chance to race their way in for a championship. But again, we all like that extra $2,000. But these guys just want to win. They race with each other all the time outside of the Pro League. They want the bragging rights. And even more so, they want to bring a win back to their team. A lot of these guys new to teams and looking to show that they belong here. And a lot of guys returning with the same teams that want to prove that they still belong here.
We are about to see the field go green. Homestead Miami Speedway, the site of the season opener for the eNASCAR Heat Pro League Season number 2. The Xbox platform competitors are on the racetrack. Brooks, the pole sitter, in the 37. The Cottonelle machine will bring the field to green alongside Lewis Zader. The green flag is out, and we're underway for Season 2. Oh, and as you see it, big-time trouble heading into turn number 3. A crash taking out many of our front runners heading into the third corner. Look at the heavy damage to the Geico machine. Big-time problems for Daniel Buttafuoco, one of those involved in the crash. And the first yellow comes out on lap number 1 of our season opener. And we talked about them trying to keep their cars in one piece. And Hannah, it didn't play out that way.
No, it did not at all. Unfortunate break there for Daniel Buttafuoco. Looks like that junior motorsports driver of Tyler Dohar also involved in that heavy damage on the front end of that race car, as you just saw there. And we talked about it in the pre-race. You do not want to get damage early on in this race. So unfortunate for them. They're off to a pretty rough start here tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway. We've got a lot of laps left. A lot can happen in these next 49 laps. But man, tough break there for Dohar as well as Buttafuoco, and it looked like a couple other drivers involved as well.
So many of these drivers taking pit stops. Explain to us quickly, Rusty, what do you do when you tear up a car like that? What changes can be made?
You gotta try to repair as much damage as you can, and obviously take 4 fresh tires. But the key is repairing as much damage as possible. Get back out there on the racetrack.
And there's not a lot of time for that to happen, as instantly we go back to green. The field back up to speed, back underway. Brooks, the leader, the pole sitter in the 37, sets the pace. They're dicing second on back, Hannah.
Absolutely a hornet's nest from second on back, like you'd mentioned. The young gun of Slade Gravitt trying to make it happen there in that second spot, but Justin Brooks mildly has checked out there, but a battle starting to heat up with Brian Tedeschi and Matthew Keel in that 51. Dohar, though, already back there in that 10th and 11th spot, battling it out with Buttafuoco. You see on the outside there. Again, Daniel Buttafuoco was amazing in the preseason, swept all 3 preseason races, and he's looking to add another win early on in the season now. He'll have some ground to make up there as the field's starting to calm down a little bit here, but again, too wide throughout most of the field.
As we say that, we watch him push all the way up to the top side of the racetrack, trying to find that fast lane, and we're still second, third, side by side. Fourth and fifth, side by side. Gravitt, Alvarado, Ogle, Selby, they're all in a battle. Inside our top 5, door slamming, heading into the corner, Rusty.
Yeah, it would feel like we're coming about 2 to go in the race, but these guys are battling it out early. They're not showing any patience. They're trying to work their way towards the front. They're going all out right now, as you can see, for second and third place.
It is crazy right now. The 43 of Alvarado out of Chino Hills, California, has moved into the second spot, but a driver diving to the bottom of the racetrack trying to make a move is that number 4 of Selby. Selby out of Louisville, Kentucky, trying to get up there and dice along with the top 3. Hannah racing pretty crazy early on in this race as we see a couple of our competitors at the bottom of our screen. Slade Gravitt on the lower right, Justin Brooks on the lower left, and Brooks leading the way right now.
And when things happen here at Homestead, they happen quickly. So Brooks has the idea of getting in front and trying to check out, but Alvarado there will take the lead. Looks like from Brooks there. Brooks on the outside there, getting a little bit of a push from Alvarado. Gravitt is helping Alvarado capture that lead. So Diego, your new leader, Slade Gravitt, though, a great run there, is maybe going to look and try and take that lead from Diego.
Man, Rusty, these cars are sleek looking, a cool style, got the numbers on the rear quarter panels, got the sponsors up the doors, and obviously sponsors very important even here in eNASCAR for these eNASCAR Cup teams as we watch the 43 of Alvarado go around. Tell us about how important air is and the draft is even at a 1.5 mile track like Homestead Miami.
The draft is everything in NASCAR heat, but you do have the option as the player to adjust it to your liking as a player. You can have it all the way up so you can get those huge runs down the backstretch like we're seeing right here, and it promotes kind of aggressive dive bombs. But the pros, they like it when you turn down the draft kind of to the lower end of things, so it's more tailored to like a realistic feel. So it falls more into the driver's hands, into the setup of their cars that they work so many hours to put out there in the racetrack. And so tonight you're going to see the draft play a factor, but not as big as you might see at other places.
See some action right ahead of our on-car camera, the Credit One Bank in-car camera up on the roof right here as we watch that car kind of running the top lane. See some dicing back and forth. And Rusty, we saw the tire wear was ×3. Tires wear pretty quickly when that's the case during a race like this, correct?
Oh yeah, tire wear is everything here at Homestead. And you can see Justin Brooks is falling back through the field. Like he's going all the way from the front, all the way to the back right now. As you see some of the guys that pitted, like Diego, he's checking out with Matthew Selby out front.
Alvarado and Selby, first and second. That's who we see on our screen right now. They're leading the way. They're running nose to tail. They're trying to put a bigger gap on the rest of the field. They've been able to gap them a little bit, but not a lot yet. But notice they're not racing side by side either as we watch them at the front. Alvarado in the 43, that USAF-sponsored machine, leading the number 4 of Selby, the Haas Tooling number 4 car. And right now trying to gain, as you see the drivers at the bottom of the screen, Diego Alvarado in the lower left and Matthew Selby in the lower right. Our top 2, watch them work the wheel, Hannah.
Lots of focus there with Alvarado, and right now it's a battle of returner and newcomer. Alvarado, with a tough season last season, didn't feel like he ran to his full potential. Well, he kicked it in high gear for season 2, leading early on here at Homestead. But Selby and Stuart Haas Esports, little wobble there, able to hold on to it. Didn't lose much ground there, but man, all the way to the bottom of the racetrack there. Messed up a little bit of that infield there, that paint, but again, able to hold on to it. Great save by Selby. But he's got a lot to live up to. You're returning champion, Haas. He's the new guy in town with the championship team. So he's got to prove that he belongs on that team, and that's exactly what he's doing tonight.
We're now watching from Ogles, number 32, running in the 6th position, just ahead, the tail end of the top 5. It's Gravitt in the 21 car. You see the spread at the front of the pack. Morris has now taken the 3rd spot in the number 5 car, the Chevy Goods number 5 of Sam Morris. And I'm mentioning him for the first time, and he's actually cut down on the gap that the top 2 had built up. It was up to 1.5 seconds, down to 1.2 as that 2-car tandem, and the battle heats up a little bit for 5th as well, Rusty, trying to close in on the leaders right now.
Yeah, you're starting to see some of these setups come into play. A lot of these guys have their car set up for the long run. Others have the short run. You're starting to see kind of the comers and goers as Sam Morris works his way forward into 3rd, as you just saw right there. And this is where the race starts to get really, really good as it transitions from that short run to the long run.
The little Joe's Autos number 32 of Riley Ogle picking up the spot. He moves into the top 5. We saw the 51, the Rowdy sponsored 51 of Matthew Heel for Gibbs Gaming, pick up a position. He's moved up into the 6th spot. That's the Rowdy Energy sponsored car is Riley Ogle. We watch him now lead that big pack of cars. And those drivers, are they trying to pick up spots right now, trying to move toward the front to set themselves up, or is it still early enough in this race to be patient?
You know, I think everybody's on a similar strategy here. They might be able to make it on one stop to the end, and they're just kind of, I think, taking what they can get at this point. You can see them drafting for position. You're kind of saving their tires, and that does help save the tires. But I think they're just moving forward when the opportunity presents itself at this point in the race.
And right now, the bottom lane, it is presenting itself. As we watch the leaders go by, it looked like they were getting ready to battle, and then that big pack. There's up front. Number 1 position for Alvarado right now. We ride along with Selby in the 2nd spot. They have built up about a 1-second lead on the 3rd place competitor Morris as we watch the Xbox One platform competitors for the season opener, race number 1 of 14 at Virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. PlayStation 4 competitors coming up a little later this evening as the top 2 make their way through 3 and 4, Hannah. Everything playing out right now, maybe other than that opening lap crash, as kind of you expected it to do.
Everyone has finally calmed down a little bit. They've taken that patience and said, hey, we still have a long race to go. We're going to see people start to save some fuel, do some fuel strategy here soon that'll come into play. But Diego is playing everything right there. High out of the corner there. Selby tried to make a move as those two side by side for the lead. Selby at that rear quarter panel. Ooh, almost a little bit of contact there. He's now on the inside of Alvarado there. Can he take the lead from Diego side by side? Again, the battle for the lead really heating up here up the front stretch.
The Haas Tooling number 4 drops back in line. The Stuart Haas Esports number 4 of Selby had a great run, but he couldn't pull it off. Couldn't keep the momentum up to make a run at that U.S. Air Force entry of Petty Esports driver Diego Alvarado. They, again, are nose to tail. And despite that little battle for the lead, Rusty, they have actually now taken a 1.6 second advantage or so over 3rd place.
Yeah, these guys are really pushing it right now. And the fun thing that I'm watching here up front for the lead is you kind of back up your quarter entry. Diego in the 40, he's kind of backing it up a little bit, and it's kind of giving the opportunity for Matthew Selby to maybe peek inside in turns 3 and 4 to get a run down the front stretch. But then you see Selby kind of run high in 1 and 2 to get that run once again here. It's almost squeezes in the wall right there, getting kind of treacherous off the exit of 2. But this is a fun battle to watch for the lead right here.
Yeah, it's been a good battle, and they're up front, and you wonder how hard Selby is pushing it right now. Still not quite to the halfway mark. 30 laps to go. 20 has been completed. Now we're watching the top 2 of Alvarado and Selby. They have built up a 2-second lead now over third place Morris. Walker running 4th. Dohar running in the 5th spot. Closing on the halfway mark, Hannah. These top 2, you think they're playing it a little bit safe right now, or are they giving it all that they can?
Man, it's tough to say. Diego and Matthew Selby have really just put themselves farther away from the field. They continue pushing these cars, so it looks like they're pushing them, but they may have these cars just so they're able to flawlessly put that gap between themselves and the rest of the field. But we're winding down in the laps here. A handful of laps away, we're going to see these guys have to pit. So you have to wonder what they're going to do. I mean, these guys are wasting no energy here, or saving no energy. Selby all over the back bumper, trying the high line, trying the low line, now all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll veer back up to try and catch Diego. These two are putting on a great battle of their own for the lead.
Yeah, we've seen Selby a couple times take that real low look, and now Selby will woe it down, and he comes toward the pit. So Selby making a pit stop, first driver to head toward pit road. And with this tire wear, maybe pitting early, not a bad move. Is that correct, Rusty?
You know, he's definitely have to pit at least one more time. I don't think there's any way Selby can make it to the end of the race pitting at this point. That really shocked me when he signaled down the backstretch and let everybody know he's coming in. That I thought he maybe got loose off of turn 2, but he actually came in. This blows my mind. This shit, he might have thrown away the race right there, honestly.
We also see Morris and Ruiz. They have both come to the pits as well. So 3 drivers came to the pits that lap. How long will the rest of these drivers wait as Alvarado continues to lead? But now he's come to the pits as well. We're watching the 21 running in the 9th position. Gravett there. Gravett in the 21 car, running deeper in the pack as we watch him fly by. And we'll see how this cycles out. I think eventually, as long as it was a decent pit stop, came to pit road okay, Alvarado will probably cycle back through and be up top. But you're worried about him being able to make it to the finish.
Yeah, according to my calculations, the rumors I was hearing, 25 was kind of that distance, the max distance you could go, and they pitted with 27, 28. So they're really, really going to have to save. I know they built up a couple second lead, so they can afford to shave a little bit of time out there. But I don't know if you could save 28 laps. My calculator says 25. We'll have to wait to see how it plays out.
Number of drivers have stayed out much longer than those that came to the pits early. The top 2, Alvarado and Selby, they came to the pits a couple of laps ago, and still a good 10 drivers have not come to the pits yet. So it's not cycled through. We continue to watch Alvarado and Selby there. They're actually nose to tail and getting ready to race deeper in the pack. They were 1st and 2nd, now running for 11th and 12th, and Selby able to make the move there on that 43 car, and I was watching as the 43 car was leading and chewing up the competition earlier with those teeth and that great paint scheme. And Hannah, we see a lot of great paint schemes, including that Rowdy Energy 51 we just saw fly by, trying to make a move to the outside. These paint schemes on these cars are pretty stout, Hannah.
Absolutely. They are some clean paint schemes. A lot of these teams, woo!
Oh,
and the Rowdy
look out.
car goes around, contact on pit road there. Man, tough break for Matthew Heel. That is not what you want to see, but it is tough getting down on pit road. That could have just made or break a good run for him. Fortunately, a couple other cars coming down there, but what a tough break for Matthew Heel.
He was able to get it corrected and head back down to pit road as now the yellow does come out. So a second caution of this race, and it'd be interesting to see how this cycles through. It may have pinned some drivers a lap down as we see Mitch Diamond in the lower left of the screen and Slade Gravett in the lower right of the screen. 2 of our competitors are racing here with this Xbox event at Homestead Miami Speedway for NASCAR Heat. Wow, things heating up and pit stops there. I think in the middle of pit stops. Rusty, how's that going to fare for the drivers that came in early?
Well, we're going to have to see who got trapped a lap down and who is still on the lead lap, because this literally changes everything. Unless another yellow comes out, you're going to the end from this green flag forward.
And we'll see how it cycles through, and it actually looks like it has pinned Alvarado, Morris, and Ruiz one lap down. Selby now on the lead lap in the 4 as we are back underway. The green is back out. We have 20 laps to go. Can we make it to the finish now? Oh, as we had some contact getting to turn 1. Car up into the wall as well. Unbelievable, Hannah. It's exciting after these restarts, double file. You never know what you're going to see. Probably a crazy race down the stretch, would you say, Hannah?
Yeah, we've seen these cars now bunched back together. Ooh, contact there with Dohar. Dohar got to the bottom and caution is out. So everyone able to check back up there. The field's coming to a slowed pace there, probably from that car we saw got into the wall a little bit earlier, Adam.
And Rusty, when we talk about the rules here, do they award the free pass on each yellow flag to the driver that is first one lap down?
Yeah, so you'll see the 43 in the U.S. Air Force car get the wave around right here to be back in the lead lap. So the car that was leading the race early is back in contention in this thing.
Absolutely. So we'll watch that. That was a huge break for Alvarado after getting pinned a lap down after making that early pit stop. We're watching the Cottonelle 37 machine rolling the bottom of the racetrack. A couple of our drivers, bottom of the screen, we hadn't seen so far in their cockpits, Daniel Buttafuoco and Ryan Tedeschi. A couple of our competitors in the field has regridded. We're getting ready for a restart. As the green flag waves, we are back underway. We've had plenty of different drivers as now we see the field on the left. And as you mentioned, Rusty, Alvarado now on the lead lap. Hannah, they go through 1 and 2. We're going to heat it up again.
And Brian Tedeschi with that lead now. Slade Gravitt hot on his tail as Tedeschi continues to lead with 16 laps to go. Tedeschi is a veteran now, as you could say, a season 1 returner here with Penske. And Penske got off to a hot start at the beginning of last season. And Brian is looking to do that again for Penske Esports there. Good looking Pennzoil car. Always love how Penske has been able to do that with making such clean cars. But Slade Gravitt, the young gun, back in front now, takes the lead from Brian Tedeschi. Things heating up behind him as we ride along with Justin Brooks, who started on the pole. Looked like he maybe wanted to take it 3 wide there for a second, debated otherwise, and let Buttafuoco and Riley Ogle in front of him battle it out.
Down to 14 to go at the line this time. Gravitt leads the way. Second, Tedeschi. Ogle is third, Buttafuoco fourth, but he just takes the third spot away as we watch him single file top 3. We ride along right now with the Geico machine number 13 of Buttafuoco. He's trying to put himself in position to make a move. He was involved in that first lap crash. He has recovered nicely, Rusty.
Yeah, Buttafuoco is one of the most talented drivers in the field. He swept the preseason races, and he told me before the race, his one mission is to win. That's all he's going for this season, is to pick up those wins, and he is sniffing second place. He's looking high right now. He's not going to settle for third. He's going to try to get this win here today.
Shell Pennzoil machine running in the second spot. Tedeschi able to hold him off right now. Buttafuoco still running third. We ride along with him. Just behind him is Ogle and Brooks completing our top 5. I think Brooks is the one to kind of keep an eye on to see if he's able to work his way up through there as we stay single file on the back straightaway, watching them fly by our speed shot on the back stretch here at Homestead Miami Speedway. The Xbox platform competitors are on the track going for $2,000 to win in the season opener, and it's $2,000 to win for the season opener of the PlayStation 4 drivers coming up in a little bit, Hannah.
And just as much excitement will be for those PlayStation drivers. Again, tons of money on the line, and everyone wants to win the season opener and prove that they're going to be one to beat throughout the season. But Tedeschi with a good rally back there, looking to battle with Gravitt for the lead side by side, and Buttafuoco is just waiting for something to happen here and take advantage of the leader there. But you can see it, your front row there, Tedeschi and Slade Gravitt battling it out. Tons of focus on both of their faces. Neither one can afford to slip up there, but the 37 of Justin Brooks in that Cottonelle car squeezing Buttafuoco up against that outside retaining wall. 11 laps to go here at Homestead Miami Speedway, and no one is giving an inch.
Oh, it's crazy racing at the front, side by side, almost like a restrictor plate race where they're side by side trying to see which lane's going to move ahead. Tedeschi running the bottom lane, Gravitt running the outside, but here comes Brooks, a talented racer in the 37, Almost made some contact there with the outside lane and grab it, and that's going to clear, I think, Tedeschi out front for the lead. Oh, nearly more contact. As I watch these drivers battle, also watching Alvarado back in the 10th spot now that he's on the lead lap, Rusty. As we watch Brooks take the lead, Alvarado can't come from that far back.
Alvarado's going to need some help, but he might get it here as we're 3 wide for the lead. Are you kidding me with Justin Brooks, Slade Graham, and Brian Tedeschi up front? This is insane.
Unbelievable, and Brooks has taken the lead. Battle for second continues. On the bottom is Gravett. On the outside is Tedeschi. We're riding along with Buttafuoco. Heel in the Rowdy Energy 51, running in the top 5 right now, but the battle is for second. It's right in front of us as they go through 1 and 2, Hannah.
Wow, tons of excitement with these guys here. You've got a group of returners. Justin Brooks, we called him Mr. Consistent last season. He was able to be consistent throughout the whole season, getting some wins, pulls. He was always up there to contend, and he is back exactly where he started. 9 laps to go, has somewhat checked out, almost gaining on a half-second lead there. Slade Gravett now in defense mode. He's got Daniel Buttafuoco, Matthew Heel, and the newcomer of Lewis Zader in his rear view mirror, and that's allowing Justin Brooks to put some distance between him and the field. So this is Brooks' race to lose right now. He's got a great race car underneath him, and the young gun is looking to maybe get a push here from Buttafuoco to catch him with only 8 laps to go.
First couple on our rundown, they were in competition. They come back from season number 1. The experience seems to be paying off for those drivers right now, Rusty. You think that pays dividends?
Oh, yeah. As you look at the front, it's a lot of guys that are returning from season 1. As Slade in season 1 was the #1 draft pick on the PlayStation 4 side. This year for season 2, he gets to jump over to Xbox, and he's showing it like it doesn't matter. You can put me in anything, and I'm going to contend for wins. But I'm so impressed with Justin Brooks in the 37 Cottonelle car. He was on the pole, fell to the back, and now he's leading this thing late.
Brooks leading the way, going to be 6 laps remaining, and the whole field basically right there in one big pack from the top of the rundown to the bottom. And a run to the outside. Here comes Gravett in the spin 21 car. One thing he doesn't want to do is spin right now. He wants to go for the lead with Brooks out front. You've got Gravett in second, Buttafuoco, Heel. Zader now has worked back up into the top 5 after a pretty decent starting spot, kind of faded away, and then all of a sudden after that first lap incident, he is back in the top 5 with a chance to do something, Hannah.
And that he is, again, a 5-car race here now for the lead. Slade Gravett, he won the season opener last season when it was at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Everyone was live and in person, and he's looking to do it again tonight. Can he catch Justin Brooks, Mr. Consistent, driving for JTG in that Cottonelle car, who looks to the bottom there, may take a risk here. He's getting a push and some help from Buttafuoco, and Buttafuoco, they're now starting to form a line, and Brooks is in defense mode. Can he hold on to it for 5 more laps? He's got to turn 5 qualifying laps here at Homestead.
That he does so far. Brooks holding them off in the Cottonelle machine, but here is a great run into turn 1 for Gravett down to the final 4 laps. Within 5 to go. We are 4 to go that last time around in a side-by-side battle heading down the backstretch to Homestead, Miami. Oh, maybe some contact between the top 2 as Gravett went up the track. Hannah, they are really racing hard for the lead.
4 laps to go. Everyone wants this win, but the front 2 contenders look like they want it more. Oh, contact. We had a couple cars get around at the back there, one into the retaining wall. Caution is out. There you see it. We're going to have a shootout with 3 laps to go here. This is not what Justin Brooks wanted to see here at Homestead.
Oh, Rusty, what great racing we are seeing right now. Justin Brooks and Slade Gravett at the bottom of our screen. Oh, now we take a deep breath and these intense, right?
That was as good as it gets. That's what I thought we'd see here today. That's what you live for as a driver, to be out front battling for the lead. Like, everyone is kind of in contention there. They were touching. They touched with like 2 to go, but now there's a caution late, and they have to come in and take tires. They have to take tires. This is going to be insane. When they re-rack and restack them 2 by 2, it's going to be 3-4 wide here on the restart. Anything can happen. Look for somebody in the back of the pack to take advantage of contact.
As you notice on our NASCAR Heat Pro League, the pit stops go quickly. These drivers, as you mentioned, they come to the pits, they make some adjustments, they get some fuel, they get the tires, and now they're ready to go again with fresh rubber. 3 laps to go. Green is back out. Who is going to do it in the season opener for the Xbox platform on the eNASCAR Heat Pro League? Into turn number 1, Brooks the advantage in the Cottonelle 37.
And a shootout, it will be Brooks taking the lead, but Buttafuoco looks low, side by side with Gravett. Great run there, those two side by side. That's exactly what Brooks wants to see, is a battle forming behind him as he continues to hold the lead. But it looks like Walker might stick his nose there, racing for Roush Fenway, a returner. Quick last season, looking for a win, but Brooks still with the lead, coming to 1 to go here in Miami.
Oh, the whole pack is pretty much right there. Sans 1 car is the bottom line right now for Brooks, leading the way, coming off of turn 4. It is the final lap as he comes off of turn 2. Next time around, he will see the checkered in the air. Side by side, second on back. Now it's third and fourth in a battle. Heading into turn 4. Looking good right now. No one making any moves. Brooks brings it up to the top of the track. The Cottonelle 37 crossing the line and winning the season opener in the lower left. You can see a sigh of relief as he backs up a little bit. Slade Gravett also on our screen. What a great race between these top 2. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. These two put on a great race all evening long. Justin Brooks slipped back there midway through the race, was able to race his way back to the front, and he came through when it counted. Those last couple laps, it was his race to lose, unfortunately, but he pulled it all together, ran a great race, and is now $2,000 richer.
Well, I would say, Rusty, that was a pretty exciting start to our season for the first race of 14 for the Xbox drivers in 2020. And now the PlayStation 4 drivers get ready to go. But crazy racing, and especially with that 3-lap shootout at the end. It doesn't get any better than that.
If that was a taste of what's going to come on the PlayStation side, this is going to be the most unreal race you've ever seen. Get your popcorn ready. These PlayStation 4 drivers are the best in the world. The field is stacked. Anyone could win it. I can't wait.
You take a look high above the Homestead Miami Speedway, watching live here on our coverage of the eNASCAR Heat Pro League Season 2 season opener. As we take a look at the results from our first race. Justin Brooks, the JTG Doherty Throttlers, Cottonelle, number 37 machine claims the victory and $2,000. $1,000 to Slade Gravett, finishing second in the 21 Wood Brothers Gaming car. Daniel Buttafuoco finishing in the 3rd spot in the 13 for Germain Gaming. Nick Walker, Matthew Selby, Mitch Diamond, Matthew Heel, right there in the top 7 spots, Hannah.
And Brian Tedeschi running for Penske Esports. A returner comes home in 8th there. Diego Alvarado had a great beginning run of this race, comes home in 9th. Lewis Zader, your number 1 draft pick there in 10th. Riley Ogle, Sam Morris, Tyler Dohar, and Jose Ruiz round out your field.
Great race for our season opener. And I think there's more of that to come, Rusty, as the PlayStation 4 competitors get ready to go. Of course, Rusty Walrus, you see him on the bottom of the screen. You see a profile shot of me. I'll be live and in person for week number 2 next Wednesday. And Hannah Newhouse at the top of the screen. She brings back the veteran experience of calling season number 1 a year ago. And always great to have that veteran experience. I'm kind of the rookie of this gang, kind of learning as I go. And it's been a lot of fun just watching some preseason action and now seeing the start of the regular season. It's craziness, Hannah.
It absolutely is craziness, and we're glad to have you here, Adam, as well as Rusty Walrus. We actually had some encounters via Twitter prior to the season, and I remember saying, that is my favorite Twitter handle. As someone who covers plenty of racing, works with Rusty Wallace there at the Motor Racing Network, to see Rusty Walrus, that was pretty interesting there. But we're going to be joined here by the winner of tonight's Xbox race, Justin Brooks, JTG Daughtery Throttles. Justin, you got us?
All right. Well, I don't know that we're going to be able to hear Justin, but he can hear us, I think. Justin, a great race. That Fanatec wheel took you to victory. What a crazy race it was. First of all, crash on the opening lap, and then you go through a couple more yellows, restack the field. Those restarts were crazy tonight. Well, Justin, great run again tonight. A great start to the season. $2,000 for the victory. It meant a lot tonight, and plus a chance at the championship later this season, right?
Yep. Thank you, guys. I want to thank JTG, Doherty, and Continental.
All right. Thank you very much. He gets his sponsors in as well. There's your winner. From his cockpit, he made it happen for the Xbox race here tonight as the PlayStation 4. Look at the excitement. It means a lot, especially for these professional gamers right here. I mean, we've seen them tonight in that first race, and you're going to see them, another group of them, and trying to help their team out as they go through tonight as well.
Absolutely. And one of the cool things about this as well is a lot of these guys have regular jobs throughout the day. They're Monday through Friday, and this is something that they have a passion or a hobby outside of what they have careers in. And so some of the guys in our field, unfortunately, are unable to work right now. We're living in some crazy times. So to be able to have a little bit of extra incentive, a little extra cash, I know that goes a long ways with a lot of the guys that are racing here. So something super cool that eNASCAR and NASCAR Heat has been able to put together in such a crazy time, and a little added incentive throughout this season. At the end of it, up to $50,000 added bonus for that championship race. So to start your season off here at Homestead Miami Speedway, and Justin Brooks getting that win, his confidence is going to be at an all-time high going into the rest of the season.
Rusty, you look pretty excited down there in the bottom of our screen. We're watching you and your reaction from seeing that first race. You're ready for the second race, aren't you?
Yeah, like I said, I just can't believe what we saw in the first race. The battle for the win, unbelievable, and the PlayStation 4 drivers, they are going to put on a show. The field is stacked from top to bottom. Like I said, anyone could win this race, and I can't wait to see who does it.
Xbox race complete. PlayStation 4 race coming up. Stay with us. It's moments away, and we're going to have it right here live for you.
Rated E for everyone.
Definitely get your copy of NASCAR Heat 4. We see the professionals racing tonight, but it's a great game, whether you have Xbox, whether you have PlayStation, to play with the family. Have a good time as we set up our second race of the night here at Homestead Miami Speedway for the Season 2 opener of the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. Race length 50 laps again, tire wear ×3. We talked a lot about that during the race for Xbox, and now full damage. We saw full damage on a number of cars. Some of those drivers, Rusty, were able to recover in race 1.
Yeah, the very first incident of the day with Matthew Heel in the Rowdy Energy car, he actually repaired it and came back, and he finished up in the top 5 in that race. So anything can happen. Your race isn't over in the first part of the race, but you got to work towards being there at the end.
So we've completed the Xbox race, the PlayStation 4 drivers getting ready to go, and here's the starting lineup based off of qualifying. The Levine Family Gaming, 95 of Josh Harbin on the pole. Brandon Gratton, a champion a year ago for Stuart Haas Esports. He's a veteran. He starts outside of row number 1. Jason Mitchell, Kyle Arnold, row 2. Joey Stone and Cody Giles in row number 3, Hannah.
A great group there, a lot of returners at the front of the field. Joe Gornick, new to Junior Motorsports, in row 4. Brandon Hanna pulled out a win in the preseason at Chicagoland, joins Rouse Fenway Gaming in row 4. Matthew Billingsley and Mike Bross in row 5. Nick Jobs, a returner to Hendrick Motorsports Gaming Club, in row 6. And Maxwell Castro with Chip Ganassi in your row 6 alongside Jobs. And then rounding out the field here in your row 7, Josh Parker with Gibbs Gaming, and Corey Rothgeb, again, a returner to Team Penske at the back of the field here, trying to look their way to the front.
Well, Rusty, we've seen the drivers from the Xbox platform, the PlayStation 4 platform coming up. What's the difference between the two? Will we see some different style of driving, or are they pretty similar?
You know, going into it, the mentality is still the same. Everybody wants to win. The aggressiveness will be there, but everybody tries to take care of each other. The competition is so high on the PlayStation 4 side, but as soon as somebody makes contact, whether it's intentional, unintentional, whether it's patience, what happens, a guy like Sloppy Joe, he might flip the switch and decide to go for the win and maybe dump you in the very next corner. So anything can happen with these guys.
See a look at the finish line where all 14 of these drivers, their goal is to end up there first after 50 laps tonight. The grid, And the field now rolls around the track for the one and only pace lap as we get ready to go. Hannah, your thoughts as we get ready to start our race for PlayStation 4.
You've got the two most competitive guys at the moment in PlayStation 4 on your front row. Returning champion of Brandon Gritton, Josh Harbin, one of the runners up last season for Levine Family Gaming. Returning, he is always a threat. He's always competitive, and he's showing it by being on the front row there. You can see them both at the bottom of your screen, ready to go. They've got the full sell for their teams. Levine Family Gaming with the Portal sponsorship behind their driver. Brandon Gritton with the Stuart Haas logo behind him. They've got it figured out, and they're going to show that there's a reason they're back for Season 2 tonight.
Love the backdrops right there by their cockpits as they get ready to go for 50 laps. We'll see pit stops. We'll see great racing. Green is out. Oh, the sound of the race cars as they fly by our corners and especially the speed shots, Hannah. This one was a little cleaner than our first race when we crashed on lap 1, only made it about 3/4 of a lap. So far, so good for this field of competitors for the PS4.
Patience, a virtue thus far, everyone being pretty calm, cool, and collected. You see there, Gritton able to take that lead. Again, Jason Mitchell now in front of Harbin, but we're riding along here. Looks like with Corey Rothkip in the 2 of Penske there, Pennzoil Penske, right behind Mike Bross driving for Petty Esports this season. So single file, you can see it through the field there. Everyone, patience thus far, only 2 laps into the race, a long ways to go tonight in the PlayStation race.
That it absolutely is, and it looks like they are being more patient right now as we watch them go to the top of the racetrack, coming down the straightaway. Only one battle deep in the field that's even remotely side by side, but I don't think it'd take very long. We're only 3 laps into this race, and already Harbin in the 95 was peeking to the outside. That opens up the inside lane for Stone, and here we go, a battle for a podium spot, Rusty.
Yeah, look at Sloppy Joe. Take a look in the inside of the bigger for 3rd place. And I know he told me he wanted to be patient, but his mission is win. And I know he wants to get that Caterpillar car out front, lead laps, and look good for his sponsors and have a big smile on his face while doing it. This is getting a lot more aggressive than I thought it would at this point in the race, because I thought strategy would still be the determining factor for today.
They were way at the top of the racetrack, nearly up into the wall, which we haven't seen so far. That Fastenal 17 machine running in the 4th spot. Running just ahead of him, Harbin in the IT Consulting of St. Petersburg, number 95, and now a battle for the lead. We'll see it play out from the onboard camera of the Caterpillar machine. Down into turn 3, Mitchell has taken the lead from Gritton as they're still side by side on the exit of 4. Mitchell clears them, Hannah.
And a new leader, we have Jason Mitchell leading the field tonight in the PlayStation race, but everyone else wants a chance at that lead. Gritton looking to take that lead back from Mitchell. Will look to the bottom. Joey Stone looking to follow him through to gain that lead. A little wobble there by Gritton will allow them to take him almost 3 wide there. Stone now to the outside following Harbin. He will take that 3rd spot from Gritton, and Gritton dropping a few spots there and continues to drop in the field. What could be going on with that driver?
Oh, interesting to see these cars. As you mentioned the word wobble, we can kind of see it, and we're only 5 laps into the race. That will probably get a little more severe as it goes, but it's great side-by-side action. Harbin in the 95 running 3rd, but maybe not for long. He's way at the top. 3 drivers at the bottom. Look at the bottom of our screen. Lower left, Joey Stone in competition. Looks pretty calm, cool, and collected there. In the 8, Brandon Hanna right there in the lower right of the screen, really putting a lot of wheel into it, Rusty.
Yeah, Brandon Hanna, don't sleep on this guy. He actually completely surprised the field with his fuel strategy in the preseason, so he could have something up his sleeve, but he's driving all the way forward in that 17 Fastenal car, and I'm just shocked at that Brandon Gritton and the Bear Josh Harbin have fallen back a little bit. I thought the wind would go through those guys, and I think Brandon Gritton would be the first guy to tell you the wind's coming through him, but they're kind of laying back right now and letting the race fall strategy-wise.
That Brandt machine in the 4 spot of Gornick was crazy going low. Almost looked like what we saw from our second place competitor in the first race there for a while. I thought they were going to drop down to the infield and try to make a shortcut like they do at Phoenix, but not the case here at Homestead, Miami. Leading the way is Mitchell, but it's not over, far from over. Just about 1/5 of the way complete, and the Fastenal 17, Hannah making a move for the lead. Hannah?
This aggression is something we have not seen yet in Brandon Hanna. We didn't see it in the preseason. The driver of numbers, 3 wide for the lead. Joey Stone on the bottom, and Brandon Hanna, the sandwich in between the Mitchell High. 4 wide. We have them 4 wide as Gornick now in the battle for the lead. Oh my goodness, these guys are not leaving any room for air. Still 3 wide as they meander down the front stretch. Brandon Hanna now on the lead with a push from Parker. No one is holding anything back right now.
These guys are slicing and dicing. This is crazy, and they've done it very cleanly. There hasn't been any contact between them. They're able to almost pull off some slingshots, then they go 3 wide, then they go 4 wide, then all of a sudden here comes another driver to get involved. Rusty?
Yeah, Josh Parker in the 18, he might have that long run car. He might have been saving something, but he's working his way forward to the lead. He's going to take it here in a couple laps in the Interstate Batteries car. This is starting to get really, really crazy up front. I was not expecting this at this point in the race.
We saw Gornick there for a moment in the Brandt machine, looked to the inside, and then it got sideways coming off the corner and disappeared out of our screen from the Interstate Batteries machine. And Gornick is in the lower right. You can see him working the wheel of his machine. And Josh Parker, driving the Interstate Batteries car, which we ride along with, is in the lower left of our screen. The 18-car Interstate Batteries team with the Gibbs Racing, as he runs right now in the 2nd spot as they come across the line. And Gornick running right there in 3rd, nose to tail for the Brandt machine. Another battle for the lead, Hannah.
And Josh Parker in that 18 Interstate Batteries Joe Gibbs car was one of the aggressive drivers, often found himself having to make his way through the field last season, but starting he started at the back of the field now that I'm thinking about it. In qualifying, he was one of the last rows, now up at the front here battling for the lead. But Brandon Hanna in that Roush Fenway car, not an aggressive driver. We saw no real aggression from him in the preseason, and he showed that he will be an aggressive driver. He's been a man of numbers, but he's leading the race right now and putting on a great show. Joe Gornick in the number 7 there of Junior Motorsports trying to reel in these top 3, as there's now almost a 2.5-second gap between the leader and 4th place of Joey Stone.
With that gap building up, some of that gap possibly cars now starting to fade away with that 3 times tire wear, Rusty?
Oh yeah. This is starting to get into that point of the run, kind of the middle section with the comers and goers as we saw in the Xbox race. In a couple laps, you might see a driver like Joey Stone in the 8 work his way forward. He told me at the end of the run, he has the fastest car on the PlayStation 4 side. So take a look at the gap in 4th place. It is kind of extending here. Maybe he's saving a little bit more than he planned, but you're going to start to see that these guys save fuel and save their tires here as they work through a pit stop here in the coming laps.
Hanna and Parker trying to break away a little bit from Gornick. We're riding along with Gornick in the Brandt machine. Just ahead of him, Hanna and Parker. Those two having a great run early on. Pit stops probably coming up here in just a little bit. Rusty, as you see the top 3 with that big advantage on the rest of the field, any patience going on from 4th on back?
Well, you can see, 4th, they're definitely, like I said, they're saving a little bit about 4th on back. Up there for the lead with the 18 of Josh Parker. He's ready to go. He wants to lead this thing and take it from Brandon Hanna here. These guys, they are running side by side. I'm a little bit shocked by this, but they want to lead laps for their sponsors here today.
That's absolutely right. Trying to get the Interstate Batteries car out front is Parker, and for a moment he did, but the Fastenal machine of Hanna pulls back forward. Great battle, wheel to wheel, heading to 3 and 4. All of a sudden, here comes the Brandt machine of Gornick, Hanna.
And that he wants a piece of that lead. Parker now with the lead. Hanna wants it back. This 3-car breakaway, you usually see them break away and run single file, but no, all 3 of them looking to catch that lead here. Gornick hanging out a little bit farther behind your leaders here. Parker and Hanna swapping back and forth for the lead here at Homestead.
It is a great race at the front of the field, and it took a little bit longer in our first race to get that great battle at the front of the field. This one's a really good one, and it's been a good battle. We had a moment of 3 and 4 wide, and we're almost 3 wide again with the top 3. Look at the Fastenal machine fight back in the outside lane, Rusty.
This is unbelievable. 3 cars on top of each other for the lead, heading off into turn 3. We're right on board here. This is so crazy. And they're about to pit, I believe, in 2 or 3 laps. They have committed to the strategy. They're going all I can tell. And they're out. Look at this. The 17 was high. They want to lead this thing, and this is I'm shocked right now. But look for the guys to signal here in the coming laps on the backstretch for when they're going to come in and pit.
We'll see if they do signal, if they drop to the bottom side of the racetrack to show that they're coming to the pits. Different pit strategy for some in the race tonight for the Xbox console, and some of that hurt some competitors that were actually locked a lap down when a yellow flag came out. They hope that's not the case tonight, but we've completed almost the first 20 laps. Look at the run the Brandt machine of Gornick gets on Parker into turn 1. You can see these cars, as you mentioned earlier, Hannah, they're wobbling a little bit now.
And that they are. Something new also to season 2 here. All of these drivers are on wheels. Last season, they had the option to run controllers or wheels. So some of these guys aren't used to running on a wheel the entire time. And there you see it, the 17 tucks down pit road. He is pitting. That hands the lead over to Josh Parker, Joe Gornick battling with it, but that could be where that wobble is. Some of these guys not so familiar with running on a wheel. They've had to put more practice in than the guys that usually run it, but it's awesome to see now the field, I would say, on a level playing field.
And these cars look to be all over the place. I've seen them change lanes a number of times. We're still under green. They're washing up the track. I know they're wanting to come to the pits to work on these cars, and it looks like they are. Parker and Gornick both coming to the pits just 1 lap after our first pit stop of Hannah. We'll see how that shakes out, but look deeper in the field. Crazy racing going on. Cars not with fresh tires. Has to be hard to stay off of one another, doesn't it, Rusty?
I'm shocked that they're doing this, like I've been saying the whole race. You would think when they're all kind of committed to the strategy, saving stuff, like maybe getting a line and draft with each other to get to your window and then come in the pit, but they're risking getting damaged. They're risking a lot out there, especially as these tires start to fade, but they are the best in the business and they can keep the car underneath them. I'm just waiting for something to happen.
Side by side heading into turn 3, starting to single out a little bit more. We're still side by side for that Kroger 47 running the outside lane. Still haven't come to the pits. The majority of these competitors have not come pit side yet. As we now take a look at a couple of our competitors at the bottom of our screen, Maxwell Castro, as well as Kyle Arnold. Arnold, driving the Geico Military number 13 car, which we saw on our screen moments ago. And now we see him right there running down the backstretch. The 1, Maxwell Castro. They're in a battle together, and Castro blew by him right there, Hannah.
That he did. Passed him like he was standing still, but a great battle shaping up there. Again, we talked about the paint schemes in the first race with the Xbox drivers. Look at how beautiful some of these cars look. I have to say I love that Ally team or scheme that Hendrick Gaming Club has put together. You can spot that car anywhere on the racetrack and take a look there. Again, Kyle Arnold racing there in the 13. That car, hard to see, I guess you could joke, with the camouflage, but great looking paint scheme that all of these teams have put together. They've been working on these throughout the entire offseason, making sure that their teams and their drivers are sponsored. So it's awesome to see really the whole world of motorsports come together to do some virtual racing, get the exposure. We've had a great crowd join us on Twitch and Facebook, as well as many other outlets, a lot of these drivers streaming as well. So cool to have the regular sponsors that we see on Sundays at the racetrack be on the race cars that we're seeing right now at Homestead.
Beautiful and very realistic looking as we watch them race down into the 3rd corner. Rusty, they've made it almost to the halfway mark of 25 laps, and is there a chance that they can try to one-pit this race?
Yes, the majority of the field is committed to the one-stop strategy, planning for no yellows to come out. If yellow comes out, it does change everything like in the first race, but the majority of the guys, 4th on back, have committed to pitting here in the next lap or 2, and they're good to the end if this thing goes green.
And these drivers have to really be trying to hang on to the wheel right now as they're still side by side. Brass leads the way. Castro's in 2nd. Billingsley's moved into 3rd in the Kroger 47. Rafael in 4th, driving the Team Penske Esports Worth machine. And now here they come. They're all coming to pit road, Hannah. Look out.
Contact there. You saw contact between Billingsley and Bross getting down pit road. Something we'll see all season long. Getting down pit road with a group of cars has always been difficult. We saw contact in the Xbox race getting down pit road, so everyone able to, for the most part, keep it together, getting down pit road. But a big group there: Castro, Billingsley, Mike Bross, Corey Rothgibb, Kyle Arnold, and Jason Mitchell now down pit road. So as the field will cycle through, that'll hand the lead over to Nick Jobs. But don't look now. Here comes Brandon Hanna in that Roush Fenway Fastenal car, creeping in on Jobs. When will we see Jobs pit, Rusty? He's the last man standing right now.
You know, Jobs is probably, he might think this is kind of his Hail Mary shot, maybe hoping a yellow comes out to get him some track position, but he's just trying to be safe, I think, in pit here. He's got to be coming this next time by if he hasn't already. But Jobs, he started in the back. He's got that Ally riding on board and that iconic, infamous Ally paint scheme. We love to see that out there. I think he's trying something different to get that win today.
You see the 25 running the bottom line, and he will back it down, and he comes to the pits, and it looks like everyone has now been able to make their pit stops. That will cycle the 17 of Goshen, Indiana's Brandon Hanna out front after making his pit stop first. He had the fresher tires for just one lap more than his competitors, some of those that came to the pits, and now that's given him over a second lead, almost 2 seconds, Rusty.
He had Brandon Hanna. This is where it's going to become pretty interesting because he's still going to have to save just a little bit, save his tires, be conservative to be on schedule to pit one final time here towards the end. The 17, 7, and 18 are on that strategy together, but everyone on back, the 25, 14, 8, 1, everybody else is committed to the end on green. But I'm going to keep an eye on the times of the 17 and 7 to see if they can extend it far enough to get that big enough delta window to come in and pit and keep the lead potentially to win the race.
Rusty, that's why we've got you here, to keep all these strategies straight, because it's crazy. If you're scoring at home, you've just ran out of paper and ink, I think. It's crazy as we watch them battle now. 3 wide for a moment, in fact, as the Kroger 47 went to the middle lane there. Matthew Billingsley, he is up trying to get back close to the top 5. He was running in the top 5 just before the pit stops. Bross right there in front of our onboard camera. Bross driving the 44 car as we are down to almost 20 to go, just over that. 22 right now for Hanna, Gornick, Parker, Stone, and Gritton. You know, NASCAR Heat 4, great family game, great chance to play with the kids, great chance to play with maybe the friends, or even, you know, the wife might get involved in playing this game. But tonight we watch the professionals, drivers racing for big money, $2,000 going to the winner. Right now, Brandon Hanna has the advantage, but still, 21 laps is an eternity on here, Rusty.
Oh, especially as the tires start to fade. One of the scariest parts on the racetrack is turn 2. Like, if you get on the gas a little bit too early, you could potentially spin out and do a single car wreck or take out the guys behind you. So you got to pay attention to that tire wear. But also, like with the guys saving fuel, you're trying to keep your track position ahead of the guys behind you. It's kind of a little bit of a cat and mouse game. And how hard are you willing to push it, to risk it, to get out in front of the guys behind? Like right now, Joey Stone is in front of Brandon Gritton in that second pack. That's going to be, I think, the potential place where the winner is going to come from.
And Hanna, not only are they racing for $2,000 to win tonight, $1,000 for second place and $500 for third, they're also racing for $50,000 at the end of the season. NASCAR Heat 4 on sale right now. You can check it out online and at your local store. But Hanna, that big championship money at the end of the season is even more impressive than the $2,000 to win for each race.
And that it is. Win and you're in. This season a little bit different than season 1 if you hung out with us last season. This season is consisted of 3 segments, each one being 4 races. We're going to visit a compilation of some road courses. We're going to go to 3 road courses. We're going dirt racing at Eldora this season in the trucks. So we're not even just going to be in Cup cars. We're going to be in Xfinity cars and trucks throughout this season, really mixing it up with these drivers. So you got to win in one of the 3 segments, and that could lock you into that championship finale. But if you don't manage that, don't worry. You've got one last chance in that wild card race at the tail end of the season, and that could lock you into the championship race. Again, up to $50,000 that these drivers can win. Some of these drivers are 15, 16 years old. What would a 16-year-old do with $50,000 worth of purse? I can only imagine. So crazy what everyone's been able to put together for this, but what an opportunity.
Craziness. Speaking of which, these drivers here are battling hard, and they're battling for the last 3 spots on the track. Rothgeb in the 2, Arnold the 13, Giles in the 16, and you would think that they would want to just close in on their competitors. They're really not that far behind a big pack of cars heading into the corner, but they haven't been able to get singled out yet, Rusty.
Yeah, you know, I've been keying in on the 8 and the 14, but this is where the leader or the winner of the race may come from, because there's a ton of experience with Josh Harbin and Kyle Arnold in the back of the pack, and maybe they've got us all kind of fueled, and they're letting the guys burn out their fuel, and they're just kind of hanging out with each other, just making it to the end.
Saw the 25 of Jobs. He settled in nicely. He was leading there for a while, had to make his pit stop. He's running in the 6th position. The drivers that are on the 1 pit stop strategy might be in good shape if this race stays green the rest of the way. If not, obviously the 17 of Hanna just made his pit stop. So Brandon Hanna, he was the first to come to the pits the first go around. He's the first to come to the pits this go around. So what does he need to happen, Rusty, to try to get back into contention, because he had to make the 2nd pit stop?
We're gonna have to see how this fully cycles out, how far back he's with those fresh tires. But he might need a yellow, unfortunately. But I can't wait to see what these 4 tires do for him here.
It's going to be interesting. We watch Maxwell Castro, lower left of the screen. Castro driving that Monster Energy drink #1 we see heading down the back straightaway. Lower right of the screen is Nick Jobs. He's running up around the top 5. Was running 6 moments ago in the Ally #25. They've moved up a spot or 2 now after, of course, the pit stop for Hanna, who finds himself 1 lap down, 14 laps to go. Hanna will probably have some more pit stops coming up in moments.
That we will, and I think these guys are going to get aggressive, and they're going to get aggressive soon. And when cautions come out, they breed cautions. But right now, no one really able to touch Joe Gornick and Josh Parker. Your front leaders there, a pretty good gap between them and Joey Stone. You can see the field really single file here, but we've got a pretty cool variety of drivers. Joey Stone joined us in the preseason. Fortunately, he did not have to participate in the preseason. So if you were retained by your team for season 2, you got a free pass to the preseason. And so he got to hang out in the booth with us, try his hand at calling some races. Rusty, you were in the preseason as well. You play this game frequently. What's the transition been like now for you to have driven and participated, and hey, now you get to hang out with us?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a public lobby driver, so I'm part of the group of guys that just hop online every weekday, race with the community, and it's a casual mentality. And when I was selected to be part of the preseason, I couldn't believe it. It's like, what am I doing here? And I had to get to work immediately. I went on YouTube, pulled up some Kyle Arnold videos, Red 4424, and I learned setups from scratch, and to try to get up to speed and compete with these guys, because they are the best. And I put in 1,000,000 laps to give my best effort, and these guys are still just levels above anywhere I could get. And I have my perspective on their strategy, the race preparation, just the overall experience they have that they bring to the table, they bring to each race. They're ready for anything that comes their way, and they're just straight up the best. And I'm lucky to be here, but I'm happy to be here, because I know I don't belong anywhere near the racetrack when these guys are out there. So it's a privilege to be here up in the booth.
Oh, it's great to have you here bringing some expert analysis and kind of telling us how things are going to shake out with pit stops. It's huge to have here in the booth as we watch right now. The Ally #25 running in the 3rd spot. That is Jobs. He follows Gritton, and we know Gritton in that 14 coming off a year ago, a championship. Brandon Gritton out of Kokomo, Indiana, home of a Kokomo Speedway dirt track, but right now he's racing asphalt and doing it well. He did a season ago in season #1. He's a driver that's always seems to be there at the end, doesn't he, Hanna?
That he does. Joey Stone, your leader, Brandon Gritton, those 2 veterans now. Nick Jobs trails behind them, and the newcomer of Maxwell Castro in that 1 in 4th place there. But we ride along here with Jobs tailing Brandon Gritton there. Takes a shot there, almost makes contact, tries the high line, not enough momentum. That's where Brandon Gritton seems to get him right now, is Nick Jobs is driving into the corner so hard to try and make that ground, but Gritton's just a little smoother, carries a little more momentum through the corner, and you'll see it again here probably. Nick Jobs, man, just drives into the corners, but Brandon Gritton a little smoother, able to keep that distance. Joey Stone checked out though.
That he has. Down to 9 laps remaining, but we still see any more pit stops. Right now, Stone Joey Stone from Canton, Georgia, the Caterpillar machine, leading the way, looking for $2,000 and the top prize. Gritton, Jobs, Castro, Mitchell, the top 5 in this race as we watch them with 8 laps to go. It got crazy down the stretch in our first race tonight for the Xbox gamers. Will we see a yellow to bunch the field up late in this one? Not sure. These drivers have been extremely clean tonight, Rusty.
Oh, yeah. They had to be clean if they wanted to try to make it on one stop and not get any damage to their car, to have enough speed to be in position for the win on that one stop strategy. And it looks like the driver of the 8 is pulling off the track. I don't know what's going on with the driver in the Caterpillar car. I thought he could make it to the end on fuel. Maybe he had a last second change of strategy. I'm shocked to see that right now.
So a pit stop for Stone leaves Gritton with the lead, the champion from a year ago. So Gritton right there on our screen has a challenge to the outside. Jobs in the 25. He led a little while ago, going for the lead again, heading down the backstretch. $2,000 on the line. And Jobs pulling ahead into turn 3, Hannah.
Side by side for the lead, 2 returners. Nick Jobs with a new team, though. I'm sorry, no, he joins Hendrick Gaming Club again there. So Brandon Gritton, 2 returners, 2 veterans battling it out, and Jobs with that lead. Jason Mitchell too far back to possibly contend. 7 laps to go here at Homestead.
Watching the leader Jobs in the 25. Brick, New Jersey driver, the Ally 25 machine actually gapping now. The second place competitor, Brandon Gritton, the champion of a year ago. Watching now as the field is kind of spread out a little bit. No battles side by side in our top 7 or 8 spots, Rusty.
This is so cool to see. Nick Jobs was the last guy to pull down pit road, and I'm thoroughly impressed that he was able to keep the lead and keep it in front of Brandon Gritton in second. But don't sleep on Jason Mitchell right now in third place. He's starting to reel in Nick Jobs and Brandon Gritton. We might have a battle to the finish here.
We are down to the final 5 laps. It's going to be 4 to go the next time they cross the line for Jobs, Gritton, and Mitchell. And Mitchell, as you talked about, closing that gap quickly. Jason Mitchell out of Georgia, the Little Joe's Auto, number 32, closing the gap in that Go Fast gaming machine. Can he be up there to challenge? Just 4 to go, Hannah.
He'll try to reel him in. Can he do it? He needs to execute 4 perfect laps for the leaders. Have to mess up something, but everyone full focus right now. Jobs, your leader, Brandon Gritton, looking to start the season off with a win. Can he catch Jobs? Can Jason Mitchell get there to contend for the win? 4 laps to go, and everyone trying to catch your leader, Nick Jobs.
It could get exciting. It's been exciting throughout this one. Clean driving, but aggressive driving from the PS4 competitors. And our NASCAR Heat Pro League tonight, there is the leader, Jobs, out front in the Ally, number 25. Down to the final 3 laps. I saw him look low. Rusty, could he be coming to the pits?
25 might be out of fuel. I saw him swerve a little bit, but I think he might have just spun his tires. I got a little prematurely excited there. But these guys, since they're pressuring for the lead, they might run out earlier than planned. So this could come down to literally the final corner of the race. As this is a nail biter. I don't know who's going to win this.
And obviously he's out front, so he's catching all the air, using all the fuel, trying to stay out in front as we look at the second place competitor, Mitchell, there in the 32, running the top side of the track. The Smithfield number 14 of Gritton running in the 3rd position, 2nd and 3rd close, but right now it's Jobs. If he doesn't run out of fuel or make a mistake, it looks like it's going to be his to win, Hannah.
And that it is. He has to hold on to it. Is there any fuel conservation left, or is he laying it all out there? Nick Jobs again trying to hold with fuel there, but looks like a battle of Bross and Gritton now. We're shaping up there, but final lap, 1 lap to go. He's got to hold on to it for 4 more corners.
Final pace. We're watching second place Mitchell and now the leader Jobs heading into turn number 3. Nick Jobs out of Brick, New Jersey, holding a pretty wheel, keeping that gap of 1.6 seconds. Needs just 1 more turn and half a straightaway. Coming to the line to pick up the victory, it will be Nick Jobs in the Ally machine. As you see the excitement in the lower left, Jobs, $2,000 to the winner. Jason Mitchell coming up just short and disheartening there. Still a great run. Second place pays $1,000, Rusty, but still you want to pick up that win.
Nick Jobs loves to talk, and he's going to be talking a whole lot after this race. This is just going to add to his confidence. They're going to position themselves as a championship contender in the 25 Ally car today.
We definitely had two different types of races tonight. The first race, the Xbox race, we saw a lot of tore-up race cars. Second race, Hannah, we didn't have hardly one bent fender on a race car. They were extremely clean. Didn't mean they weren't racing hard. They raced extremely hard, especially in the first half of the race when they were going back and forth at the front of the pack, 3 and 4 wide.
That they did. All arms and elbows were up. Tons of aggressive racing, but that's something we see often here in eNASCAR Heat Pro League is one race will go one way on one platform and the other could go completely the other way, but hands down, both races very aggressive and very competitive tonight. Great racing for the lead in both, and great to see awesome people winning here at Homestead Miami Speedway. These drivers are going to have peaked confidence going into the next race.
Yeah, and how big is it, Rusty? They get a win at the season opener. Takes a little pressure off of them when it comes down to trying to make it into that championship event at the end of the year.
Yeah, I know it lifts the pressure off Nick Jobs. I don't believe he won in season 1, but he's going to keep pushing it and try to get as many wins as he can in season 2. He wants the money. He wants the recognition. And I love to see it for Nick Jobs and his team.
Awesome racing for our season opener from Homestead Miami Speedway. This season we'll have 14 events, 13 left next Wednesday the 29th of April, Watkins Glen International. We're going to see them on a road course that quick, Hannah. How crazy is it calling a road course here?
If it was anything like Mid-Ohio in the preseason, we're in for a very exciting race. We saw lots of contact, people going through the grass. There was no lack of excitement for Mid-Ohio, and I think we'll see exactly the same at Watkins Glen.
Nick Jobs, the winner tonight for the PS4, and he joins us now on our broadcast for our Season 2 opener. Wow, Nick, what a great race, and your strategy paid off wonderfully. One pit stop, led a little bit. I think you're the last one to come in the pits. All of a sudden, you found yourself in the lead and on your way to victory, and what a run, huh?
Oh, yeah, it was a crazy race. I mean, we put in so much time to strategize for this, and we kind of knew what we had to do, and I didn't think that many people would be on the fuel strategy saving mode there early on, and we took advantage of it. We knew running by ourselves, we could make it 25 laps, and we were able to gain the advantage of the draft, and it saved us 2 extra laps, which allowed us to push down there at the end there.
Nick,
and you're
returning for a second season. I'm sorry, Hannah. Go ahead, Hannah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I say you're a season 2 returner here on the Pro League. I know you wanted that win last season. You get it here tonight, and you're $2,000 richer. You've got to have a peaked confidence. What confidence do you carry now going into the rest of the season?
Oh, this win is huge, no doubt. I mean, I came on strong there at the end of season 1, and I carried that momentum into the offseason, and I did a lot of preparing for this. Homestead's one of my favorite tracks there, so it's very confidence building to be able to get the win race 1 here. I have to thank Ally for all their support. They've been incredibly supportive as they come on board here. I got to thank Hendrick GC as well for keeping faith in me, keeping me for season 2. And then I gotta thank my teammate Sam. Me and him have been putting in so much time to this game, and to be able to strategize with him, he's half of this win tonight is definitely for him too.
Absolutely great run for Nick Jobs, the Brick, New Jersey driver. Congratulations on your victory for the season opener of season number 2 for the PlayStation 4 NASCAR Heat Pro League. As we take a look at the results from the season opener for these drivers who put on a great show here tonight, and our live coverage from Homestead Miami Speedway. As we take a look around the Homestead Miami Speedway with the fans exiting and heading to their virtual cars in the parking lot, as Nick Jobs in that 25, the Ally machine, claims victory. Oh, what a great night for a season opener. It's the first time I've got to see this live and in person and call the action. And Hannah, you did a great job. And obviously part of that, getting to see a lot of these drivers compete in season 2, and the experience tonight looked like it paid off for those drivers coming back.
That it did. A lot of returners really flexed muscles and showed there was a reason that they were brought back for season 2. But a lot of newcomers turned some head as well. We saw Brandon Hanna lead a lot of laps. We saw some drivers that are with new teams but returning. Josh Parker, one of those, turning some heads. Diego Alvarado in the previous race showed that, hey, I'm back, and this season I am contending for the win. So we'll see that carry throughout the season. We'll see the aggression. We'll see alliances form and some rivalries as well as people continue to get aggressive. The chances to win will continue to wind down, and that leads to a little desperation. But don't worry, we have 1 race in the book, 14 left to go this season.
Plenty of racing, a number of different tracks, a number of different types of cars. We go to a road course next week for the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. So that's going to be a crazy race, and these drivers, I'm sure, will be testing a lot at Watkins Glen to get ready for week number 2 on the 29th of April. As we get ready to take a look at the results, the final rundown from tonight's PS4 game, it's Nick Jobs claiming the win for Hendrick Motorsports. Mike Bross brings home second for Petty Esports. Jason Mitchell finishes third. Matthew Billingsley, Maxwell Castro, Brandon Gritton, champion a year ago, finishes sixth tonight. He was among one of the front runners and then faded back. Corey Rothgeb, complete your top 7, Hannah.
And take a look at the rest of the field there. Kyle Arnold coming home in 8th, the returner. Brandon Hanna ran up front a majority of the race, as well did Joe Gornick. Those two round out your top 10. Josh Harbin, a returner, as well as Josh Parker, Joey Stone, and Cody Giles round out your field.
Rusty, it was exciting tonight, that's for sure. Both races, they were a little different. The first race, some crashes early, first lap, and then one a little bit later, the second race. I think the racing was actually crazier in the second race, but they kept it clean and a lot of green flag laps.
Yeah, we got a little bit of everything here at Homestead Miami Speedway, and this is why we love this racetrack. One of the most popular racetracks in the game for that reason, with the 3-4-5 wide racing, the fuel saving, just hanging onto the tires, everything about it. It's just a fun place to be and a fun race to watch.
Of course, team standings very important, and it's not too early in the season, despite it just being week number 1, to take a look at what we have developing when it comes to the teams, because that's how the champion is determined at the end of the season. It's the team standings championship. JTG, Doherty, Throttlers, between the 2 races tonight, they lead. Hendrick Motorsports 8 points behind. Petty Esports, good run in that second race. Rallies, they get 45 points, 15 behind. Germain, Wood Brothers, Go Fast, Stuart Haas, last year's champion, they start a little behind, down in the 7th position, Hannah.
Interesting to see, like you said, Stuart Haas Esports in that 7th spot, Wood Brothers Gaming there in 5th, and a couple other teams here a little bit farther back. Junior Motorsports, Levine Family Gaming. This is a completely different scene than we saw at the first race of last season. Penske Esports as well in that 9th was off to a dominating start. There are a lot of movers and shakers during season 2 here, and I think we're going to see a tough battle and probably a new team break out here early on in the season.
Well, I know I've had a lot of fun for the season opener. I hope Hannah and Rusty, I hope you guys did as well. I think from watching your live cams, that was the case, as we are ready to wrap it up from Homestead Miami. For Hannah Newhouse and Rusty Walrus and everyone in the NASCAR Heat Pro League, I'm Adam Mackey saying so long from Homestead Miami Speedway.
Rated E for everyone.